So Julie and I and Natalie have been working on this project that has been christened Armistastic, and we're just going to talk a little bit about that. Well, the motivation, Julie has, Julie, do you want to talk about like the number of R packages and this sort of thing? Do you want to say a few words? Yeah. Okay.
There are actually 274 packages on missing values. So really our aim is to help the user to navigate through all these packages if they have some analysis to perform with missing values, because missing values is a ubiquitous problem in the statistical practice and in the machine learning practice. So our aim is really to provide, maybe you have another slide, a platform so with which first we are going to list all of the available packages through a task view, because there are actually no task view dedicated to missing values. So this is the first point. Then the second point of the project is to create on a website the list of all the not all the available the references, but main articles and main books on missing values. So this is really to help, okay, if I want to do imputation, what are the main references? And then the third point is really to offer tutorials and workflow for the people to help them to analyze this data with missing values. So if you want to do a regression with missing values, we will provide with data and with the tutorials help, and also with, yes, of course, the R code. If you have time series with missing values, what can you do? So this is really our aim.
And I also want to say a few words on future extensions and beyond. So trying to get the community together to arrive at consensus for things like alternate representations of missing values and how these can be extended within, say, the data frame sense, and if we need to think about maybe larger approaches to perhaps sort of unify the approaches to impute missing values, which would be a very big project, but discussing those sorts of standards around that. And to help with that, we have created this Armistastic group, which would sort of hoping sounds a little bit like an armistice, like, you know, sort of like a peace, like a nice thing, you know, and trying to help out with these missing values. So you can find the group at github.com/r-miss-tastic, and that's it. That's all we've got to say.
Maybe, yes.
Oh, of course, yeah, sorry.
No, static also because it was fantastic.
Oh, yeah, and fantastic.
And also if anyone is interested to join, this is really a collaborative project, so please call us or send us an email. We have already Natalie who just joined and who is offering a lot of help.
Yeah, we've been really lucky, so thank you so much, Natalie. It's been a huge contributor getting, she's a fantastic coder and statistician, so thank you so much. And yeah, great, thank you. Ta. Yeah, okay, cool. Ta, thanks.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is John Blischak. Here as a representative. We got funded back in the first cycle of R Consortium grants. And so we were doing a software carpentry R instructor training. The idea is to get more people who both know R programming and know teaching to teach more scientists to use R. So if you're not familiar with software carpentry or data carpentry, they've now been wrapped into the thing called the carpentries. But the basic idea is for academic scientists who need to code to do their research but don't get the formal training, we come in to try and make it so that they are both motivated and can do this stuff more efficiently. And so we have this grown a lot over the years. This is from the report. You can see they've recently done. We're hosting over almost like 300 a year of these workshops. They're usually 2-day workshops with about 40 to 50 learners per one, and so the reach is per year now over 5,000 scientists. And so as you can see from these plots, it's quite an entrenched Python group. It's originally started, software carpentry was all Python, but because R is so popular in many academic fields, there was a lot of demand, but we didn't have the instructor base to teach these R ones. Most of the instructors were Python people. So there's a standard instructor training curriculum to become an instructor for these workshops that covers pedagogy and instructional design and that sort of thing. So our goal was to get a crop of instructors that wanted to teach our workshops. And I'm here just as a representative. I helped prepare the proposal, but almost all the work was done by Laurent Gateau, so all the credit to him. And then he had help from Gabriele Rustisi at the University of Cambridge. This is where it was hosted, and these were the organizers of the event. The instructors were Steve Crouch and Karen Legeson. So the results, there were 30 attendees. The median is usually around 19 for these events. And 13 have completed, which that means they went on to teach at least one workshop. Unfortunately, people get busy after going through training and have trouble. And also, it can take a while because these things take a while to organize. And then they don't keep actual records on which ones are Python or R, so I scraped all the web pages. And as you can see, we're catching up. So if you're interested in becoming an instructor, please do reach out to Francois, for example, so we can get that blue line above the red. You can read more about it here. Thank you.
Of interest, Nick, who just talked, is just recently trained as the software carpentry instructor at Monash. Now, a couple of minutes about a project that we got funded for last year. This is under the Forwards umbrella. This is the group task force from the R Foundation tasked with improving and building diversity in the R community. There are a number of members. There's two topics that we are focusing on. One of them are workshops for women, and this is a focus on package writing, building package writing skills amongst women, because as we've seen, we're still a fairly small fraction of maintainers over the whole set of maintainers of our packages. And the second is girls' workshops targeted 17 to 18-year-olds. And here we are teaching them to build shiny apps, because we think that's kind of an exciting thing to do. And the goal is to build coding skills amongst our younger generation, very much focused on data analysis. So these are the workshops that we've completed. In October last year, we did a Melbourne Girls Workshop. December, we followed up with a women's workshop and a girls' workshop. There was a women's workshop at ERUM just a couple of months ago, and then Ira Wang in one of the R Ladies group did an R package development for women in Melbourne. We've got plans for North American workshops and more workshops around Australia. The interesting thing that song woman Marucci, from the very start, I was talking to her before she opened the conference, and she said, "Oh, I have a daughter, and she's a real computer savvy person, and maybe you can tell me when the next workshop in Brisbane will be, so she can join." So here's just a couple of pictures. This is one from the Melbourne workshop. That's our own Iro Wang helping a young woman get started. This is the group from the first Melbourne workshop. This is proof that you only need one Jenny Bryan to fix the projector. That's in New Zealand, and Hadley and Jenny jointly taught the women's workshop, and this is the girls' workshop the next day. The materials are here, so the forwards.github.io edu tab has the details on workshop announcements. I just noticed it didn't announce the EROM ones. It's a little bit out of date. That's my fault. It's also got links to sign up for upcoming workshops. All the sources are available on GitHub under the Forwards group, and you can get access to the women's workshop notes, and also the several apps that we put together for the girls. And this last one, this is actually if you're taking a picture of that, if you just go to that, this is a tutorial. It's all done with Flex dashboards that the girls work through to learn how to build a tutorial. Actually, they learn about data principles first, and then they work with one of the example apps to change it and build and develop it. So that's all. We've got about 10 minutes if there's questions on how to make a proposal or ideas that you want to throw together. We've got the people responsible for evaluating and building support here too to ask questions if you like. Okay. The application process is pretty simple, by the way. Yeah, so Joe, or Dave, the criterion, what are the criterion for deciding on the success of a project?
Oh, okay, so, well, so first it's the criteria for a proposal. What are we looking for when we go out for the call for proposals for an ISC project? We're looking for something that, that number one, will have an impact on a sizable portion of the R community. So we tend not to favor things that are too esoteric, but that we think would address like spatial statistics. I mean, you might think it's an esoteric area of statistics, but it addresses a large number of people are involved in that. So that was one kind of thing in that area. The next thing is we're really looking for proposals that just are not going to be an R package. So we certainly don't want to disrupt the package system as it is now. People contribute and they do extraordinary work, and it's just not reasonable that we would fund things that can be done in individual packages. But things that are, demand cooperation and maybe sequences of packages or a long commitment over time. That's, pardon me? Sustainability, yes. And then during the selection process, the criteria for selection, well, the ISC gets together and, they evaluate the proposal based on, first of all, is it a good proposal? Does it articulate the problem? Is there a financial estimate about what it's going to cost that seems to be reasonable to the people who are proposing? Can they point to any track record? And, it's essentially, do we believe that this group can fulfill the project they propose? One strategy that we use in helping people to move along is to ask them to break up their proposed idea into smaller chunks so we can evaluate whether or not they're going to hit their first milestone, and we'll fund you milestone by milestone.
If you compare the impact of the weighting of the idea with the weighting of the team that's going to implement it, how would you rate it? Do you look at the track record of the team? Should they have worked together before that?
We recommend they're both important, of course, but the idea is more important, and we can take some steps to mitigate our risk by making them hit milestones, right? So we're out there to help you. We want to help you succeed.
Not to cure, right?
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So where do we find, actually maybe I should, where should we go if you want, just the R Consortium webpage?
Yeah, so the R Consortium webpage is, it has a section on there on proposals. So it'll tell you, basically what the process is and what we're looking for. And then we kind of leave it moribund until we fire up and come out with the next call, which will probably be in September.
So the next round of funding will be sort of announced like in February or January, February? Okay. Yeah, so the proposal itself is much simpler than academic grant proposal. It's like 2 pages, and you spell out your team, your major topic, and why you think it's important, why you think it'll have impact, and a budget. And if you get funded, you are expected to turn in quarterly reports, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so and that's really a simple process too. Is okay. Have you got a website? What is it? What have you done in this last quarter? And it takes about 5 minutes to complete it. So it's there are these checks afterwards to make sure that the work is going on time, and you can get support if you need more time to get things organised. Any more questions? Yeah.
I guess I'm just curious about the R Consortium. If you can see this as, I feel like there's this relatively new, or like the term to me is a research software engineer, and there's these software
grow our membership? How can we make sure that we're going for the next 20 years? So we're going to have to answer that question over time.
Sure, makes sense.
Maybe last question. Have you tried crowdfunding projects as a way of financing it? Because like you mentioned that people are interested, you go and have a look and just spread the word around. Crowdfunding would really raise awareness and visibility.
Well, our model, we're somewhat constrained by how we have to take the money. For instance, we have companies participating, and we have, the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation. There are constraints on the kind of organization and how it can take the money. So crowdfunding is something that hasn't occurred to us, to be truthful. But thinking on the fly here, there's no reason why it couldn't work. So you start a working group to do something. The working group would have a vibrant, committed leader, and then somebody from the R Consortium who would be the liaison to the R Consortium to make sure that there's some supervision. And then I don't see why you could crowdfund something through any
Because
other.
that can bring visibility, that can bring your users, and that can bring money as well.
Well, if that is your thing, then you need to.
Oh, yeah. Guys, it's thinking.
Maybe just one more thing in terms of amounts too. I know that we received 25,000 for the workshops. We've hardly used any of that money yet, but because our goal is we basically fund food and stuff for the workshops, and we can leverage community groups to get the rooms for free and the computers for free typically. We've paid a little bit of travel expenses for a couple of the instructors, and we've done a lot on like the smell of an oily rag, I think. Alrighty, maybe we'll leave it there. Yeah, question?
Coffee.
Coffee, yeah. Let's go get some